Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our service today, I'm going to kindly ask that we turn off or silence all cell phones, electronic devices. Thank you.
Shalom, everyone. Good morning. I am Rabbi Gary Gans. I'm the Rabbi Emeritus in Congregation Beth Tikva in Marlton. I'm sad but honored to be with you here today as we acknowledge Jerry's life. We've come together sharing our sorrow to commemorate Jerry's life. We recall the blessing of his life. We thank God for all that was good and true in his life. And we thank God for the precious memories which shall endure. Eternal God, his family and friends are bowed in grief. They seek light to dispel the dark gloom that threatens to overwhelm them. O God, be gracious to those who mourn, for they are in distress. Bless them with your compassion. Ease their burden of sorrow. Send them light and peace, for it is written, "Fear not, as I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I'll sustain you with my power." And let us say, Amen. The grief is felt by all of you here. Tradition has us acknowledge Jerry's sisters who are here. And just before the ceremony started, I tore the black ribbons that they are wearing. It represents the sense of tearing that takes place internally within their hearts. And these ribbons are never to be restitched. They can be disposed of, but never return to the original situation of being intact, just as your lives will not be intact, acknowledging Jerry's death. So that before we began, I cut the ribbons for Janice and for Phyllis, acknowledging their sense of loss. And this becomes a marker that they wear, that anyone who looks at them will know that they are in a process of mourning. We also acknowledge Beverly, who predeceased Jerry. Seymour wasn't able to come today. Sydney, who's also predeceased and is buried also in the same cemetery at Locustwood. Janice, and Ronnie, who's not here physically. But we acknowledge all those who've gone before. I offer on Jerry's behalf Psalm 23. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, benodesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yanach aleini. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. God has me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters. God guides me on paths of righteousness and revives my soul for the sake of God's glory. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod do comfort me. You set the table in sight of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of the Lord forever. If one can have a favorite funereal reading, I do. I shared it with members of my congregation for decades. In fact, my own members of the family, my own parents. It was written several thousand years ago by a rabbi and scholar named Ben Sirach, who understood realities of life and the closure that comes with death. I'll be translating his work into English, but it echoes through the eons as I understand and receive the meaning of his writing. And he wrote, "We are all destined to die. We share with all who ever lived, with all who ever will be. Cry for the dead. Hide not your grief. Do not restrain your mourning, but remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory be a source of peace, and be consoled when the soul departs. Life is better than a life of pain and struggle, and eternal rest is better than constant illness. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, our few days in eternity. The good things in life last for a short time, but a good name, Jerry, lasts forever." I appreciated my conversations that I had with Janice, learning about your family, learning about Jerry. And my takeaway immediately was, you, his carers, his caregivers, added quantity and quality to his life. One can only imagine what might have been if you weren't there for him. But you stood up. You earned this quiet, multi-year mitzvah of support, the imperative of saying, no, he's my brother, and I'll support him and lead him where he needs to be. But he appreciated you. He appreciated and was grateful. He felt safe, and he knew he was safe because you were caring for him. And being thankful, I'm sure, made it much easier to offer the reciprocity of giving him what he needed. And one phrase that really stood out was that Jerry deserved to receive good care. Every person deserves good care. But when you're grateful and supportive yourself, then especially makes it easier and more comfortable to receive the good care that you did give him indeed. He loved word search books, TV, car shows, working on restoring cars himself. I hear that he had a sweet heart. He was a loving uncle. He loved his nieces and nephews. Are any of you here? Nieces, nephews? Okay, well, you earned a serious mention because of your serious good efforts. His life couldn't have been too easy for him, and not for you. But you treated him like a mensch. You treated him like a human being. You provided his dignity and allowed him to continue that life. That's more than most of us could say about our families and what we might do in similar situations. So, yeah, you've earned your good deed badge in life. Wear it proudly. Life is complicated. Life is full with emotions. I'm going to quote from the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And your presence today speaks volumes. Your presence is important as we accompany Jerry in this last mitzvah, these last prayers on his behalf. Family has asked that any potential donations in his memory be made either to M.D. Anderson Cooper or to the Wounded Warriors, both worthy institutions who could certainly use your support, and it would be a way of propagating and promulgating Jerry's name and memory as you would support them. Excuse me. The burial is going to be at Locustwood, which you have been to before for family funerals. The place is sacred, holy, distinct, and important in your family history and tradition. I understand that there was a London rabbi who was your relative. I didn't ask exactly how he's related. I'll find out later. But he did a very good job. He related Jerry's Hebrew name. And his Hebrew name, of course, is his name, which is Yirmiyahu, and the son of. And he also provided his parents' names, Yitzchak and Leah Sarah. The prayer I'm going to be reciting in a moment uses the formula of that Hebrew name. Yirmiyahu, Ben, means son, Yitzchak, the means and, Leah Sarah. To honor him, I ask that those who are comfortable to please rise as I read this prayer on his behalf. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina. V'ma'alot Kedoshim Toharim, Gezohar Harakia Mazhirim. Et Nishmat Yirmiyahu ben Yitzchak v'Leah Sarah, Shahalach Lolamo, Began Eden Tehei Menuchato, Ana, Ba'a Harachamim, Hasirehu Beseter Kanapecha Le'olamim, Utzror Bitzror Chayim et Nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, V'yanuach b'shalom amishkavo v'namar. Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Jerry, who has gone to his eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is his portion. May he rest in the tranquility of shalom, of peace. And let us say, Amen. I welcome you now. Please be seated. דובר אמת לבבות, לא נגע